Welcome back to my channel. Today we're talking about gratuities and tipping on MSC cruises. And before anyone comes for me in the comments, let me be very clear right from the start. This is not about being cheap or not tipping. Cruise staff deserves fair pay, and I fully support tipping for exceptional service. But there are several things about MSC's gratuities that feel confusing, misleading, and honestly, a little frustrating. So, in this video, I'll go over exactly how MSC gratuities work, how much you're actually paying, and what your options really are. Gratuities are not built into the cruise fare. On MSC cruises, gratuities are referred to as hotel service charges, which are automatically added to your bill. One of the biggest issues I have with gratuities is the sticker shock. MSC often advertises very low cruise fares, so it feels like you're getting a great deal. But then the cruise ends, you check your final onboard account, and suddenly there's a sizable gratuity charge added on. For US, Canada, and Caribbean itineraries, MSC charges $16 per person per night. On its own, that number doesn't sound too bad, but it's per person, and it's every single day. So let's put that into perspective. Take a family of 4 on a 7-day cruise. At $16 per person per night, that's an extra $448 added to the cost of the cruise. That amount is automatically applied unless you go out of your way to have it adjusted. I've been on over 25 cruises, and I can tell you, every single time I see that final gratuity total, it still catches me off guard. Even when I know it's coming, I always get sticker shocked when I see the total. I really wish MSC would include gratuities in the advertised fare from the beginning. Just show the real price. Luxury cruise lines like Silversea and Seabourn already do this, and it makes budgeting easier and the entire process feel much more transparent. Removing gratuities. On MSC cruises, it is possible to have gratuities removed, but you have to go to guest services and request it in person. It's not something they advertise, and it's not automatic. If you're trying to remove gratuities simply because you don't want to tip, they may push back a bit. However, if you have a legitimate service issue, they will adjust or remove gratuities. I learned this firsthand on one of my MSC cruises. I complained about the lack of notice for balcony cleaning. That morning, I had ordered room service and even paid the room service fee. I ordered omelets, pancakes, bacon, the works, because I planned for me and the kids to enjoy a relaxed breakfast on our balcony. But instead, the balcony cleaning crew showed up without any notice and immediately started cleaning. We couldn't use the balcony at all, so instead of enjoying breakfast outside, we were cramped inside the cabin. If I'd known the balcony would be unavailable, I never would have ordered room service that morning. I went to guest services to complain, and their resolution was to remove gratuities for one person for the cruise. That adjustment saved me $112 in gratuities. Again, I'm not saying this to encourage people not to tip, but it's important to know that if something goes wrong, guest services can adjust and remove gratuities. You can use onboard credit to pay gratuities. One thing I appreciate about MSC is that they allow you to use onboard credit to pay for gratuities. Not all cruise lines do this. Some have restrictions on onboard credit and won't let you apply it toward gratuities at all. MSC doesn't have that limitation. For example, on one of my MSC cruises, I had $50 in onboard credit. As you can see, gratuities came to $112 for one person, and I also had $9.38 in room service charges. MSC applied the $50 onboard credit to my onboard account, which reduced my balance and left me with a balance of $71.38. Being able to use onboard credit toward gratuities helps offset the final bill and makes the overall cost of the cruise feel much more manageable. Prepay gratuities. Should I prepay gratuities? This is one of the questions I get asked the most. The biggest advantage to prepaying gratuities is that you lock in the rate. Every few years, MSC, like all major cruise lines, raises its daily gratuity amount. When you prepay, you're protected from any rate increases that happen between booking and sailing. However, there are disadvantages to prepaying gratuities. The first is onboard credit. If you prepay your gratuities, you can't use onboard credit toward them because they've already been paid in advance. That means you'll need to find other things to spend that onboard credit on during the cruise. Since onboard credit is usually non-refundable, anything you don't use by the end of the sailing is typically forfeited. Another disadvantage to prepaying gratuities is that you lose flexibility. Once gratuities are prepaid, they generally can't be removed or adjusted. So, if you experience a service issue on board, and removing gratuities would normally be part of the resolution, that option is no longer available. Gratuities on beverage packages. One thing that confuses a lot of MSC passengers is gratuities on drink packages. With MSC, all beverage packages automatically include an 18% gratuity, but most people don't realize it. It's not obvious, and if you don't read the fine print, you could easily miss it. Because of that, many passengers end up tipping the waiter or bartender every time they order a drink, essentially tipping twice without knowing it. Don't get me wrong, tipping extra for outstanding service is always welcome. But tipping simply because you weren't aware gratuities were already included? That's not right. Paying gratuities for services you don't even use. One thing that doesn't feel fair about cruise gratuities is that they're a blanket service charge. Everyone pays the same amount, whether or not they actually use the services. Take dining, for example. Some passengers never eat in the main dining room. They eat at the buffet or dine at specialty restaurants. Yet they're still paying the same gratuities as someone who eats 3 full meals in the dining room every day. Then there's stateroom service. Some guests ask their cabin steward not to clean their room daily, maybe for privacy or to be more eco-friendly. Yet they're still charged full gratuities with no credit or adjustment at all. Why isn't there a credit for opting out? Major hotel chains, like Marriott, already do this. Skip housekeeping and you'll earn loyalty points or perks. Double tipping on spa services. If you book a spa treatment or salon service on MSC, they automatically add an 18% service charge. But here's the confusing part. They still leave a blank gratuity line on the receipt. The first time I got a massage, what did I do? I almost tipped another 20%. Thankfully, I did not add extra gratuity. The lesson? Always check your receipt before tipping. I'm all for rewarding great service, but tipping twice by accident? That's something I like to avoid. Lack of transparency in gratuity distribution. One of the most frustrating parts of cruise tipping is not knowing where your gratuities actually go. That service charges are distributed to crew members, including stateroom attendants, dining staff, bar staff, culinary staff, and behind-the-scenes hotel operations. But here's the problem. We're almost never told how that money is divided. Some crew members go above and beyond, remembering your name, anticipating your needs, making your vacation unforgettable. Others, not so much. Yet everyone gets the same cut from the gratuity pool. Because of that, I almost always end up tipping certain crew members extra in cash, just to reward the people who truly made my cruise special. This lack of transparency can start to feel like MSC is using the service charge more as a way to boost revenue than as a direct reward for the crew. I really wish all cruise lines would be fully transparent, show exactly how gratuities are divided, and confirm that the crew actually receives them. That way, tipping would truly feel like rewarding exceptional service, not just adding money to the cruise line's bottom line. Paying adult gratuities for kids. One thing I really don't like is how gratuities are charged for kids. On US, Canada, and Caribbean cruises, MSC charges the exact same daily gratuity rate for children ages 2 and up as they do for adults. That means toddlers, who aren't potty trained, can't use the kids' club, and aren't ordering drinks, are still being charged the full adult gratuity rate. That's not fair for families. What I don't understand is why MSC doesn't use a tiered gratuity system for US and Caribbean cruises. Because when you look at MSC's pricing elsewhere in the world, kids do get discounted gratuities. For example, on Mediterranean, European, and Middle Eastern cruises, kids ages 2 to 11 pay half the adult rate, €6 per person per night, compared to €12 per person per night for adults, while children under 2 years old aren't charged gratuities. South American cruises follow a similar model. Adults pay $16 per person per night, while children ages 2 to 11 are charged $8 per night. It's frustrating that families sailing from the US end up paying more in gratuities than cruisers in Europe, South America, or the Middle East. Asian cruisers have it worse. Their gratuities are even more expensive. Both adults and children, ages 2 and up, are charged $18 per person per night, which is higher than US sailings. To be fair, MSC is at least better than some cruise lines. It does not charge gratuities for infants under 2 years old. Some cruise lines, like Disney Cruise Line, charge the same gratuity amount regardless of age, even for babies. So I do appreciate that MSC draws the line there. Get your free cruise packing list. Whether you're a first-time cruiser or a seasoned traveler, this one-page checklist makes sure you never forget the essentials. Download my free cruise packing list printable. Link in the description below. Want to know what the most overpriced things on cruises are? Don't waste your money on them. Watch the next video. I hope you found this video helpful. Please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.